Good evening, everyone. It is now 6:30, August 12, 2025, and we're starting our regular City Council meeting. Up first, we have Emerson and Ellison Thomas. Can you please come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Can everyone please stand for that and remove your hats? Thank you. Thank y'all. Can you give these young ladies a round of applause? They did great. Come up here. We're going to get your picture real quick. You come stand right here. You guys stand here and face the crowd. There you go. Oh, okay, sure. Well, yeah, we like y'all can. Yeah.
We're going to go get ready for school tomorrow.
Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you, girls. Okay. So now for our invocation presented by Chaplain Phil Woods. Please stand and remove your hats.
Father, as we come before you tonight, we ask for wisdom from above for our mayor and city council as they go through the agenda that is before them. We pray blessings and protection upon our police and fire department, and Lord, blessings upon all of our employees throughout the city. And Lord, as our children, boys and girls, start back to school tomorrow, we ask that you just bless them, and may this be a wonderful school year for them. And Lord, we just thank you for your many blessings that you have brought our way here in Bastrop, and we give you praise today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Woods. All right. On to the mayor's report. I'm pretty excited about this right here. But before I get to the main part of my mayor's report, I do want to just kind of fill you in on how my week has gone. Last Friday, I was fortunate enough to take a tour of the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, and they're doing quite a bit of an expansion over there. And so it's a pretty huge thing as far as the impact that it can have for our community. And I say that in the sense of I found out how many people are employed at Austin Bergstrom out of Bastrop County, and it's around 2,000 people. And we actually have about 200 people within the city limits that are employed at the airport. So that's huge because that's 200 of our citizens within the city that have a job, and with the expansion, it can only mean more for us. So that's some pretty exciting thing. The other thing was Saturday, I attended the Bastrop County Health Fair that the Bastrop Chamber of Commerce put on. It was at the Convention Center. It was a much needed fair to attend. Had pretty much everything that you can think of pertaining to your health or betterment of your body and mind. And it's very important that we as citizens here take care of our health. And the other thing that I was able to attend, they were happening pretty much simultaneously, but Evangelist Nava with Hands Up High in the Street Ministry, I can't remember the acronym, but he does a lot of work in this community. And him, along with a few other people, a lady named Amy, and I can't remember the other lady's name, my apologies, but they put on a backpack drive. And Amy reached out to me a few months back about helping with it, and they had a target of 800 backpacks, right? And I like to think big, and I was like, Amy, I think we can get 1,000 if we, the community comes together. Well, thank you, Bastrop, because Saturday morning she let me know that they got 1,100 backpacks with school supplies donated. So that's a lot of kids that are going to school with a good start. And then they also went to Elgin and did the same thing. So I just want to thank them for everything they did in the community. All right, now, as y'all know, I've coached youth sports since I was 15 years old. I'll be 44 next month. And youth sports are big for me. And it does a lot for development of friendships, discipline, commitment, falling in line under leadership, and just it's a way to have fun. It's an outlet for kids. And so with that, over the years, I've coached kids, I've met parents, I've just been involved and developed that relationship. And so tonight, we have the Bastrop Knights, and they are some of them are going into high school. They're a 14U team, and I don't want to spill everything. Can I call you up here, Orlando, to kind of give a little rundown on the team, if you don't mind? And also, I have Olivia Donner here as well, and I'll give a highlight on them. But my mayor's report is mainly going to be focused on recognizing this group, this team, and the individual performance in Bastrop youth sports. So, Orlando, you mind? Yeah, just right there.
All right, so we played for Pony Rec. Some of the boys came out. We played 14U this year. We had a pretty good record. Got won the regionals here in South Austin, and we got to go to Louisiana, to Youngsville. Had a fun time. Like Ish said, we had to build a lot of friendships. It's a great, they had a great learning experience. I was not prepared for this, so kind of put me on the spot.
It gets done to me all the time.
So thank you for that. But we're very appreciative that y'all invited us to come out. Some of the boys are here. I don't know if y'all want to, they can stand up, say their names, or you want me to introduce
No,
them?
that's okay. I just wanted to let you give a little bit. So I'm going to do a proclamation. This is in honor of the Bastrop Knights. Thank you for your hard work and dedication. You guys have gone pretty far. To my recollection, I'm not sure if a team has gone that far. No discredit to anyone, but as far as I know, we're real close to making it to the National Championship Series for the Little League World Series. So, whereas the City of Bastrop takes pride in celebrating the accomplishments of its youth, whose commitment and perseverance reflect the very best of our community's values. And whereas the Bastrop Knights, a talented group of young athletes, have demonstrated exceptional skill, determination, and teamwork throughout the 2025 Little League season, earning their place as champions on and off the field. And whereas through countless hours of practice, dedication from coaches and volunteers, and steadfast support of their families, the Bastrop Knights achieved a remarkable milestone by advancing to the regional tournament of the Little League World Series. And whereas this achievement places the Bastrop Knights among the elite Little League teams in the nation and brings great pride to the City of Bastrop as they represent our community on a broader stage. Whereas the Knights' journey is a testament of power, of discipline, sportsmanship, and unity, and serves as inspiration to young people across our city to pursue excellence in all they do. And whereas the leadership of the coaching staff, the dedication of the team families, and the enthusiasm of our supportive community, they have all played a vital role in helping these young athletes reach this prestigious level of competition. Now, therefore, I, Ishmael Harris, Mayor of City of Bastrop, Texas, do hereby proclaim August 12th as Bastrop Knights Day in the City of Bastrop and call upon all citizens to recognize and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of these young athletes whose hard work and success serve as a shining example of community pride and youth achievement. A witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Bastrop to be affixed on this 12th day of August, 2025. Thank you, guys. And congratulations. Hey, And like I told y'all, when I had lunch with y'all that day, don't hold your heads down low, hold them high. Be proud of what y'all did. Y'all came together as a team, and y'all accomplished something that many only dream of. So thank you, and congratulations for what you've done. If y'all can come up here, we're going to take your picture.
Mayor, let them say their name. As they get through, let them say their name.
Okay. So we want to hear your name. Name and grade.
My name's Katie Fox, and I'm going to ninth grade. My name's Jimmy Shaw, I'm going to ninth grade. My name is Eduardo Rodriguez, and I'm going to ninth grade. My name is Michael Aragon, I'm going to ninth grade. My name is Michael Guido, I'm going to ninth grade. My name is Good Hannah, I'm going to eighth grade. My name is Jordan Rodriguez, and I'm going to ninth grade. I'm Cole Burris, and I'm going to ninth grade. My name is Ben, and I'm also going to ninth grade.
And he hits dingers. And so I hope this upcoming baseball season, if any of y'all have time, to check out some Bastrop Bear baseball games. As you see, all these guys are going into ninth grade, so they stand a strong chance to either be on varsity, but for sure JV. So take some time if you can to try to catch a baseball game and support these guys. All right.
Mayor, they'll like to hear what the improvements we're doing at the baseball fields, at the Little League fields.
You want me to say something or no?
Well, it's in the budget
It's
report,
in the budget.
but they're
Okay.
getting shade.
There you go.
They're getting
All right.
shade covered.
Okay. Council, do we want to take a picture with them or just have them here? Yeah. Okay. And can I get the coaches up here with them as well, please? All right. We have one more. Just give me 1 second because I got to pull this other stuff up. This is some good to know stuff. All right. So we're going to move from one round ball to another round ball. All right. From baseball to softball. So here tonight, we're also going to recognize a young lady. I've known her whole life. And her name is Olivia Donner. And growing up, I didn't know what sport she was going to play. And I can't remember the reason why, but she took a knack to softball. And she took a knack to softball like no other. And really dedicated herself to the game of pitching, to batting. And I'm going to tell y'all, she plays 12U. When she was in 10U, her parents struggled to get people to come be a catcher for her to practice, right? The girl's a gunslinger. So with her dedication, she has played a lot of travel ball, and she found herself on a team called the Texas Blaze. And that team has real good chemistry, like these guys here. And so around the same time that the Bastrop Knights had their tournament going on, the team she played with was traveling and went to California to play in a national tournament. And this is an elite group of kids in this tournament. And so can't remember how many games they played, but they went up there and won the national championship. And all sports are team sports unless you're playing golf, you barrel racing, or you're doing tie-down roping, right? Everything else is going to be a team sport. So, but you do have those who are big factors and contributors to the team. And so Olivia was, with her strong arm, she was able to help them finalize things in the last game. Her coach's interview was, I didn't start Olivia at the beginning of the game. I wanted her to be patient because we knew what she was going to bring to close it out. And she closed it out. And on top of that, how the results came in for her, I know she's up for National Player of the Year. So she's a very talented lady, young lady, born right here in Bastrop, homegrown. Her parents are from here in Bastrop, so that makes it just that much special. I'm going to read her stats real quick, and then we'll go through the proclamation. And so for those who follow the game, you'll have an understanding. But was this during the tournament or her season? The tournament, she had a 385 batting average, a 471 on-base percentage, 462 slug percentage, 962 OPS and 5 RPIs with a .8 ERA, 11 strikeouts and .78 WHIP. I don't know what that one is, but for those who know stats, it's pretty good. So, whereas the City of Bastrop is proud to recognize and celebrate the exceptional accomplishments of its young athletes whose dedication to discipline and determination bring pride to our community. And whereas Olivia Donner, a talented and hardworking young athlete, has demonstrated extraordinary commitment to excellence in the sport of softball, representing her team, her family, her community with honor and grace, and through countless hours of training, competitive spirit, unwavering perseverance, Olivia has achieved a remarkable milestone, becoming the 12U national champion in softball. And whereas her performance on the national stage showcases not only her athletic ability, but also her leadership, sportsmanship, determination to succeed, serving as a role for youth throughout Bastrop and beyond. Whereas Olivia's victory is the result of her dedication and strong support from her coaches, teammates, and family, all of whom helped shape her journey towards excellence. Whereas her championship win brings great pride to the City of Bastrop and stands as a testament to the positive impact of youth sports in building character, confidence, and community. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Harris, Mayor of the City of Bastrop, Texas, do here proclaim August 12, 2025 as Olivia Donner Day in the City of Bastrop and urge all residents to join me in congratulating Olivia Donner on her outstanding achievement in celebrating her continued success on and off the field. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Bastrop to be fixed on this 12th day of August 2025. Congratulations, Olivia. Olivia, would you like to say something? I know you're not camera shy. I watched your interviews. And you do a fantastic job. Would you like to say something? And then parents, if you come up here, we'll get the picture and get this proclamation to you.
I would just like to say thank you to my coaches and my teammates for getting me through that whole season.
Thank you. When are you going to change your shoes, though? Not them, the ones that you don't want to get rid of. She also got MVP of the tournament.
He's watching a movie.
thank y'all for being patient. Thank you, coaches, family, team, and good luck in the next season. So thank y'all for being patient with us as we went through that tonight. All right, that's it from my mayor's report. On to the council report. We will start with Councilmember Lowe.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's good stuff. I played Little League ball, and we didn't quite make it as far, but that's definitely an achievement. Over the past week, I've had the opportunity to attend several important community events and meetings. I attended the Bastrop Chamber Luncheon and truly enjoyed connecting with local leaders, business owners, and residents. After the luncheon, I also attended the BCACC meeting. This organization is moving forward with positive momentum, and we're happy about that. And I'm encouraged by the direction and progress being made. Before the council meeting we had today, we had leadership training with Brett Miles, and it's always great to keep learning and refining our leadership voices so we can continue to guide the citizens in the city of Bastrop in the right direction. On August 14th, coming up, the South End District Steering Committee will begin work on establishing the district boundaries during our meeting. This is the first step of many toward preserving and protecting the historic significance of the South End. I'm excited and ready to roll up my sleeves and get to work on this important project. Last Thursday, I had the honor and privilege of serving as MC for the Farm Street Opry. It was a great night. The crowd was warm and welcoming, and I enjoyed reconnecting with my friend and music industry veteran, Big John Mills. I hadn't seen him in a long time. It was good to see him. There's been also some unfounded rumors about the Opry not continuing. Let me be clear, that's not true. So while one longtime member will be stepping away due to personnel changes, we thank him for his years of dedication, and the Opry will continue. The next show is set for September 4th, so help spread the word. Finally, as back-to-school season approaches, I want to wish all of our students a successful and inspiring school year ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Lowe. Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two quick things I want to say. I want to say thank you to James, also known as Doc Cowie, for your wonderful communication skills with our beloved citizens. And in particular, I'm talking about Liza and John Thrift and their little fur babies, Nikki and Teddy. Liza is the Dr. Doolittle of Bastrop. She has been at Fisherman's Park feeding all the critters, the cats. The cats are fixed, spayed and neutered, so don't worry, they are taken care of. But the cats have been, since I was little, there have been cats out there that have been taking care of all the rodent problems. And Liza's just, she is the Dr. Doolittle. The ducks walk with her, the cats walk with her, dogs walk with her, the people walk with her, because everybody loves Liza. But Doc, you went out of your way to communicate with Liza and let her know how valued she is to our city. So thank you so much for going above and beyond. And the second thing I want to say is happy birthday. I call her Wonder Woman, but her name is Sylvia Carrillo, and her birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday, Sylvia.
Thank you, Councilmember Meyer. Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
I want to say one thing. Specifically, I'd like to congratulate my friends Jack and Allie Plimpton for living out their entrepreneurial dream and opening up Jeremiah's Italian Ice. They're having a grand opening celebration on Saturday, August 23rd, and everybody's invited. And I'm told I have an appointment inside the dunk tank on that day. So
you and I both.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember, I know I was going to say Plunkett, then I was thinking of Jack's last name, and that's what popped up. All right, so thank you. Councilmember Plunkett.
I'll pass. Yeah, y'all all do a good job of making sure everything gets covered.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilmember Fossler.
You know, I was going to pass, but then I remembered the birds. We've got a double bird reveal coming up, y'all. 2 more bird sculptures will be revealed Saturday, August 30th at 10 a.m. across from City Hall, and then Friday, September 5th at 4 p.m. by Film Alley. I don't know what they're going to be, but the artist has been working on them for a long time. So bird reveal, double bird reveal. That's all I got.
Thank you, Councilmember Fossler. All right, on to our city manager's report.
My stuff's not nearly as fun. Council, I will be bringing to you a proposal at the August 26th meeting for the creation of an investment committee. Our investment policy is relatively new, adopted in my tenure here. The city has the ability to invest funds under the Public Funds Act. We have not availed ourselves of that, and so I'd like to bring that forward. So I will be asking the council to create a committee that also has appointments by the council. Capital improvement project streets. I know Water Farm Linden, everybody's talking about those. I sent council the proposed Gantt chart of work. We are attempting to time the pipe bursting for the water repairs that need to happen, because I know if we only do the segment of water that's planned, I will be tar and feathered, as will the staff. So we are attempting to complete all of Farm Water Linden as part of this round, and that is expected to get started in the late fall.
All right. All right, on to our budget workshop.
Okay, Rick, can you bring up, there you go. So I'm debating whether I stay at this chair, or depending on your questions, I may move to Rick's chair to run OpenGov so we can have some of that conversation.
Can you go ahead? Can you make plans to do that? I think I don't want to put the extra, but I think it might help for them to see, right, and maybe how it operates. Do you need a mic over there? Okay, thank you. Thank you for being so accommodating.
This just goes to show we need to invest in better technology.
We'll get there just like everything else.
All right, so the current budget, all fund summary, total revenue $72 million, total expenses $68 million. This does not contemplate yet the $15 million borrow that is all in the general fund, would be moved into revenue and expenses. We currently have $3.6 million in revenue over expenses, and increase the fund balance overall to $67 million. Now, what I gave you was a budget at a glance, and this is the first time you're going to see some of that. Can I zoom in? So what I gave you was each of the funds at the top, and it essentially says at the beginning of the year, each fund will have this much in it. That is our starting fund balance. I gave you the amount that we expect to receive in revenue in each of the funds. I gave you the amount that we expect to expense in each of the funds. And I gave you the amount that is total to be left in the funds, and whether or not that was a plus or a minus from any fund balance. At the bottom, I gave you what is restricted, meaning those other funds you really can't do anything with. The only fund that has available fund balance to be used is the general fund. The other funds may have some available uses, but they are restricted by law, so I just left all of those restricted. And so this is going to be a common theme as we move through the budget through the year. How much is left? How much did we use? And so we have some built-in dashboards that we're going to be talking about. And so the biggest contributors to fund balance, BP&L has a healthy fund balance of $8 million. The water wastewater impact fees, $4.5 million. Debt service in the water wastewater, 3.2, although that will be significantly lowered when we have our debt payment. Transportation impact fees are brand-new fees. That has $1.5 million, and those impact fees, again, are to pay for roads that developers, for new development. And then the BEDC has a $9.9 million fund balance. And this is above revenues and expenses. So we're going to move into the general fund. The general fund has total revenue of $18.8 million, operating expenses of $18.966 million. So we are over expenses over revenues by $73,000. The plan is to draw down some of that excess fund balance and leave a fund balance of $5.4 million, which is 28.5% of overall expenses. And there is a 25% policy reserve, and that's 25% of expenses that's required. And so above that, the general fund still has about $665,000 for what this council has regularly called one-time expenses. If you'll recall, a few years ago, you put $200,000 toward Mayfest, you put some toward the visitor center, so this is usually where that pot comes from. We move through the taxable value, and so I've had the question of how did we get to a no new revenue rate that's higher than what we were before, and the reality of it is we discussed that valuations went down. Last year we had assessed values of 1.665. This year we have assessed values of 1.652. We did put new value on the ground of 31.7, so I don't even want to think what would have happened had we not made that development happen this year. So because some of those things, 1.657 is the real number of assessed value, but some of those things are still under ARB review. So the number we're using is 1.652, which is a percentage of. So we'll talk a little bit about definitions. The no new revenue rate is the rate that would generate the same amount of revenue than last year based on the same properties for both years. The voter approval rate is the rate that is the maximum rate that we could raise without having to go to the voters. And the de minimis rate is the same no new revenue rate plus the ability to raise $500,000 in additional revenue. The de minimis rate is specifically for smaller cities under 15,000 population, I believe. So those are our tax rate calculations. The no new revenue rate is 0.5179. Our debt rate remains the same across all of the, well, there's a rounding error in the de minimis rate. 0.1852 essentially is the debt rate, and it goes out for 6 digits. And so the no new revenue rate, maintenance and operations is 0.3327. We did have a slight reduction in the debt rate from 0.1962 to 0.1852. So as a comparison, the no new revenue rate last year would have been 5,009. We continued with 0.4994. This year we are proposing to go to the no new revenue rate of 0.5179. Again, those are just explanations of the voter approval rate, and the maintenance and operation rate is 0.3327, and the debt rate is 1.852. Here's a chart of the tax rates. They have consistently dipped down over a period of time. Some of those years, as the assessor explained, this was a year of a reset, an adjustment. We had some very high years of valuations, and this year was a market reset. Historical tax rate. And so what does that mean for the average resident? In 2024, the average resident had a value at their home of $335,116. That meant you would have received a bill from the City of Bastrop of $1,674. In 2025, your house value dropped to $309,839. So at the no new revenue rate of 5,179, your tax bill should be $1,605, which is an actual reduction of about $69. Sales tax, again, we discussed this at the last meeting. We've left a pretty flat sales tax rate of 1.1 to a 9.15 million estimate. We know there are a lot of things going on, a lot of retail and restaurants that are going to be coming online in 2026, but market volatility and tariffs and those things, we wanted to be really conservative. So, things to draw attention to: street maintenance and rehabilitation. At one point, there was an $800,000 transfer from the general fund to streets. We don't have that large of a transfer this year, but the general fund is paying the debt service to the street maintenance fund. We do have an estimated borrow of $15 million that's included in the debt rate already of 0.1852. There is no additional staff for public safety this year. The VERF, the Vehicle Equipment and Replacement Fund, which is tied to that investment policy I talked to you about, requires some attention. And the Discover Bastrop changes result in not drawing down the fund balance in the hotel occupancy fund for the first time in a few years. So, general fund proposals. The budget increased in police by $346,355 despite no increase in staff. Those are program steps, those are program trainings, et cetera, et cetera. I did not program a COLA. There is a 2.5-step increase that every employee receives at their anniversary date, and that totals $353,000. So if council wanted to program an increase from that $664,000 surplus, we may have that conversation. All of the VERF payments were removed except those lease payments that are absolutely required. And as I've explained to you, in the general fund, police alone has $450,000 plus. In the general fund, there is one accountant in finance, one human resource generalist as we begin to prepare for additional staff, more demands of the staff in terms of reports, health insurance, et cetera, and we need a succession plan in HR. One mechanic in fleet and facilities. We've had one mechanic for the city for some time. We need to get him some help. And then a part-time library associate. We did have an increase in health benefit costs of 10% that totals $686,000. That's down from the estimated 25+% increase that was programmed. So we'll move into what are called special revenue funds. Special revenue funds are those funds that are outside the general fund that have specific guidance. You can't use these funds for anything else other than what they are presented for. Some of the special revenue funds include development services, engineering, the street maintenance fund, the VERF fund, parkland dedication, Hunters Crossing, Valverde, all of those specific funds. And again, I gave you, this is where the funds start, this is the revenue, this is the expense, and this is where we plan to end the year. Significant changes proposed, and I'm going to start with development services in that fund. Development services has a fund balance of $1.37 million. This year, they're expecting revenues of $2.232 million with expenses at $2.215 million with the year-end fund balance of $1.39 million. This is assuming all things are equal. We know development is picking up. We have been very conservative in all of our estimates. All of these fund balance numbers will be finalized at the audit. I move on to engineering services. This is a new way that we are programming for engineering services. Engineering services had been a portion of development services, had been a portion of the general fund, et cetera, et cetera. The reality is that our project managers work on project basis, so they have an account code to charge to. So they start with the zero fund balance. Any revenue that is received in this fund is transferred in from an associated project, whether that's a project that they are doing that has come in over the development desk in the department, whether that's a capital improvement project, whether that's a street project, they are charging that time to it. So it has decreased the impact to the general fund significantly. This is not one of those funds that should carry a fund balance. We may have some fund balance if we lose an employee mid-year or something like that and we have some salary savings. Next one is the street maintenance fund. I did not propose any additional staff, and I am looking for, we've extended an offer to a new parks director, and we've had some interviews for a street director. We spend a very large amount on mowing, and so I'm hopeful that those two directors, once they come on board, can help realign that. And I really want to get away from super large contracts. I want to bring those contracts in-house. I want to bring them into the city and allow for several small contracts to help build some of the economy within the city. So it has an $863,000 fund balance. We expect revenues of 3.5, expenses of 2.3, with an ending fund balance of $2 million. The cemetery operating fund, this is one of those sort of funds that's just out there that nobody really understands that we have. This fund has a larger amount than normal in it because we are going through the columbarium project. This fund has a loan from the general fund. That columbarium has an absolutely great ROI, except, you know, it's going to take time, and we're not in a hurry for anybody to go use them. It's going to take time for them to pay back the general fund, but they do have the ability to pay back the general fund and establish a very healthy fund balance. The designated fund, this is one of those catch-all for some very specific uses, like in the police department, they have what they call a PEG account. There are specific municipal court technology fees, et cetera, that can only be used for a specific purpose. $643,000 in the fund balance, revenues of $103,000, expenses of $50,000, with an ending fund balance of $696,000. The water wastewater fund, this is has a fund balance of $15.8 million, revenue of $10.1, expenses of $10.1, with a slightly higher fund balance. It has organizational staffing needs. We are adding one plant operator and one maintenance technician. We did not propose any monthly rate increases in the utility bills, and I'm looking for operational alignment with streets and street repair. And by that I mean, if we're going to touch a street, Curtis is normally on board to know if we have any water or wastewater issues that need to be addressed prior to us touching that street. Water wastewater impact fees. This is, you know, speaks for itself. This is how much folks pay when they're going to develop in the city. It has a fund balance of 3.9, revenues of 4, expenses of 3.4, with an ending fund balance of 4.5. We did increase the wastewater fees to the maximum amount because we are planning the wastewater plant expansion. The water impact fees remain the same, although we will revisit them in the spring. The hotel occupancy fund. This fund has a fund balance of $2.4 million, exclusive of the amount that we're about to sweep from Visit Bastrop. We have revenue of $4.8 million, expenses of $4.5 million, and we begin to build that fund balance again to $2.8 million. Lots of realignment happening in this organization. The two staff from Visit Bastrop were absorbed. We add a position, a cultural arts coordinator, special event coordinator, special event workers supporting the convention center. Those costs are offset by eliminating the two very high-level positions of the Visit Bastrop executive director and the convention center director. The salary adjustments were made as we absorbed those positions to align with the city pay scale. There is a net increase in capacity without an increase to the overall personnel cost. Operational efficiencies that were gained is approximately $500,000 reduction in operating expenses from duplication of services. We move to what we lovingly call the VERF, which is Vehicle Equipment and Replacement Fund. That has a fund balance of a little over $5 million. This year, I reduced and stripped some of the revenues out that the departments are going to transfer in. I've left only required lease payments in. We have expenses over revenues, 2.9 to 1.5, with an ending fund balance of 3.7. This is not a sustainable fund the way we are doing things. This feels like an internal Ponzi scheme. Yes, we need an equipment and replacement fund, but the fact that the police department has $451,000 in lease payments and also is preparing for additional expenses in the future is like buying the car twice in the same year. So she's unable to add additional officers because the expenses, the carrying cost for the vehicles is getting to be too expensive.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, with what you're talking about, going from a lease to a purchase, how many officers can we acquire?
Next slide. So, this is the request to form a committee, and I'm just going to give you a super simple example. If we were to have invested our money properly back in 2022, we left about $1 million on the table each year. 4.4 in a fixed income security yields about $220,000 a year. So if all I did was put what I have in the VERF into investments with an investment committee oversight, et cetera, I could earn $220,000. A $2.5 million short-term 7-year note is about $396,000 a year. So I would have reduced that general fund contribution from $500,000 to $176,000. So, and every year, and every fund, dependent on liquidity and the other things we need to watch with our money, that amount can grow, and we could very well just cover our automobile and our asset expenses with a good investment policy. So the difference between 500 and 175 is 325. That gets her 2.5? Yes. She's expensive.
Thank you.
So we move on to debt service funds. Now, debt service can only be used for just that, debt service. We're not supposed to have any extras in this account. This is supposed to go down to pay debt. There is a little bit of a fund balance, number one, because we thought we were going to do the bridge borrow sooner than we were going to do. And so when you talk to Fawn and Ellen specifically, and you're working out your debt model and your tax rates, you have to give an advance notice of what your tax bills are going to be. So we had fund balance of $581,000. We expect revenues of $4.9 million based on that 1.852 rate, with an expenses of 4.1, with an ending fund balance of 1.4. What does that mean? That means I'm about to pay off 6, 7, 8, and a smaller portion of another debt service fund with this residual amount. So we're getting out of the single digits of debt years, and we're going back into the teens, which there are small amounts owed. I think we're going to pay down about $750,000 worth of debt because of residual fund balance. So the debt service, general fund debt service, it's based on the current INS tax rate, interest and sinking rate, and the CO of $15 million that we have capacity for 20 plus. I've capped it at 15 because the tax rate would remain stable. The priority is the old iron bridge. Secondary of this, quality of life improvements, specifically in the parks. Been a lot of questions about the park master plan, et cetera, et cetera. So I wanted to make sure that folks understand it still has to go to the Parks Committee, still has to be vetted by the public, still has to be brought to planning and zoning, and ultimately to City Council. I think Viv, in a presentation in a little while, is going to bring you a schedule of how that will work. That $15 million is scheduled as such. $9.6 million to the old iron bridge. There is a heavy pad there because, again, you just don't know what you're going to uncover when you're there. Fireman's Park, $370,000. Mayfest Park, $248,000. Delgado Park, $1.8 million. Fisherman's Park Splash Pad, $675,000. The Pine Street house that would complete the Kerr Park, $500,000. Shade structures at the Little League, $75,000. A Veterans Memorial location to be determined, $500,000. A par 3 golf course, $550,000. $50,000 for the Bark Park, $50,000 for Kerr Park, $500,000 for the potential German casino / recreation space, and $25,000 for improvements at Ferry Park. Some of the examples are that. Fireman's Park, that is the play structure that's expected at Fireman's Park. It will have some bleacher repair and covers and will also include a restroom. What's also not shown on this slide is there will be a trail for seniors, and we will be adding some senior what are called therapeutic amenities, meaning the seniors are able to stretch, climb, et cetera, because we do have the senior facility right across the street. Next, this is Mayfest Park. This is a cover. This is a pavilion area where families can gather. There is literally no shade in this particular area, so these are hip shade structures that would cover the playground, the swings, and the pavilion area for gathering. Delgado Park, this is the first all-inclusive playground for children with disabilities. What you can see in the far background is the splash pad. The park has been moved adjacent to the existing structure, so you can leave one park structure into the other and not know that you've entered different type of playground areas. This will also have an additional restroom. The current restroom will be retrofitted for ADA compliance. Fisherman's Park splash pad renovation. We've discussed this ad nauseum that during the summer, that splash pad has 1 million gallons a month that goes down the drain, literally. So the renovations include a recirculation pump, some improved and more efficient water features, and improved pavilions for shade. And those are examples of some of the amenities within that particular splash pad. That is going to be geared more toward the little children. LCRA shade structures, there's about 10 of these planned in the, what we affectionately call the ball fields up on the hill. Those parents, God love them, they've been playing in these fields with no shade for a very, very long time. So new bleachers in some of the fields and definitely shades over all of the shade structures. And that's just a little bit of that overall park and rec item. Water, wastewater debt service, looking ahead. We have wastewater treatment plan number 3, planning and construction. We have estimated that 60 to 72 million. And then a west side water service expansion, which is an elevated water tower, which is over in the Valverde area. We've estimated that at 15 to 20 million. We are working with developers to help participate and bring those numbers down. We do have some grants into the Water Development Board, so I'm optimistic that the city is only on the hook for a small portion of that. So overall budget considerations, the proposed rate I've given you tonight does not have to be the final adopted rate. The sales tax is proposed at a conservative 1.1 increase. There are no fee increases being proposed, and the general fund available fund balance over the 25% policy reserve is $664,965. Important dates. That's your last day to adopt the budget. Any questions?
Councilmember Plunkett.
This is a general question, but with a lot of the fund balances that you went through, but in particular with the street maintenance fund, we start out with a $800K fund balance and we go to 2 million. I mean, my philosophy on that is that we're collecting, in this particular case, because I don't see a need for a reserve in this account. Is that right? We don't have any legal requirement or anything for a reserve, do we?
There are some there are some normal operating expenses in this account. So ideally, you would like to keep 25% of your operating expenses in reserve. But if the council decided to fund those a different way, then no, this account would not have to have a fund balance.
Because just in general, I'm not a big fan of, taxing now and holding on to money for when we have plenty of projects that we can do, and they're going to be cheaper to do now than they're ever going to be again. So it's a lot of these fund balances, when they're, if we're saving up for something big, that's fine, if we want to do it for a year or two, but to just carry a fund balance and to me, that's one of the inefficiencies of the hot, fund balance, since we had it in two different entities, one in Visit Bastrop, one here. I'd like to reduce that as much as possible so that the current taxpayers are getting benefit for what has been extracted from them.
This year, that fund balance may be a little bit larger because we still have about $3 million to burn from a prior borrow, which is what is Water, Linden, and Farm. We have paused all of the HA5 thus far. There's still a hefty amount in the budget itself for street repairs, but I hear you, and we have plenty of projects. And I'm hopeful that once we get a street director on board, those projects will move along much faster.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Plunkett. Councilmember Meyer?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, on that note, Sylvia, speaking of balances, did I see that correctly on the BEDC? We have a $9.6 million balance in that account?
Correct.
Does that stay, does it stay the same every year? I mean, is there a lot going on, or do we just keep on hanging with $9 million in the bank, or?
So, that one's a little bit harder. There are projects that come online that may draw that fund balance down if the board and the council both decide to participate in some infrastructure improvements or land purchases, et cetera. Thus far, we've not been introduced with a project that would need to draw down a significant amount. Most of what we've done in the BEDC is trade land for value. So if a development wants to come in, the land is essentially reimbursed. So they purchase the land, that goes into restricted fund balance. Once they complete their project, we give them a refund of what the purchase price. So yes, the fund balance has been largely untouched and growing.
Thank you for that, because we're in a whole different time now. We don't really have to incentivize much of. We've got Elon Musk here and quite a bit going on. People are wanting to come here. So I like a direction of maybe changing our perspective on how we see that balance, and maybe thinking about what we can do as far as economic drivers that would benefit our community as well. So thank you.
So the BEDC is a type B board. The BEDC, in the entire time it has been in existence, has been able to do affordable housing, has been able to do amateur sports type things. And so this may be the fund that we tap for a pool that the residents are asking for. Just has to be an Olympic-sized pool, and we need to have amateur sports there.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Councilmember Meyer. Councilmember Fossler?
Hi, thank you for this presentation. I wonder if you'd be willing to switch over to the stories version on the website. And I always like to hear about the unfunded requests, because we're seeing the things that made the cut, but the departments do submit wish lists and what they really need. If you wouldn't also just talk about that. Thanks.
So what we have in front of you is OpenGov. And this is what built the publication and everything that we have in the background. So there are unfunded requests. We have unfunded requests from the police department for 6 officers. And I'm telling you this off of memory because I've been in this book enough. We have unfunded requests from the police department for 6 officers, totaling about $750,000. We have 4 firefighters who have also been requested. We had a park and recreation assistant that's also been requested. And at the points of the publication, we still had a mechanic and those things that did make it into the cut. So right now, 6 officers, 4 firefighters, a recreation assistant. Let me go to that page.
I had found the page and you tracked it perfectly. Good job from memory. But please show them where to navigate because
Sure.
it is like really accessible to find this information.
So what is in the book is these unfunded. So police, 6 officers totaling $750,000, which would be a 0.0455 cent to the property tax. 4 firefighters totaling $400,000, which would be approximately 0.0235. 1 recreation assistant at $65,000, which would be a 0.004 increase to the tax rate. 2 additional street maintenance workers totaling $130,000, which would be a 0.008 increase to the tax rate. And so what I did is I broke it down by information that would allow the council to make a decision. So the no new revenue rate is 0.5179. The cap at the voter approval rate, meaning this is the highest you can go to before you have to go to the voters, is 0.5329. So if we took the 4 additional officers and we added the 0.0455, then the new rate would be 0.5634, higher than the 0.5392, so you would need to take that to the voters. Same thing with the firefighters. It would add 0.02, ending in a new rate of 0.5422, so you would need voter approval to take that amount, to add that amount to the budget. 1 recreation assistant would move the rate to 0.5219. That could be done at council approval. And 2 additional street maintenance workers would move the rate to 0.5259. That could also be done at council approval. And I hesitated on the street maintenance workers simply because we have a new director coming on board, and I am for sure that there are efficiencies to be gained with the mowing and how much each one of the departments is spending on mowing.
Sylvia, can that not be also said for the recreation? Because we do have a new director coming, so
Yes.
that's possibly not even needed there too?
Yes.
Cool.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland has his light on. And I'll get to you.
I just wanted, the 6, should be 6 officers on the police, right? I just wanted.
Yes, there should be 6 additional officers. Yes. Sorry, it's 6 additional, 6 up here. This should be 6 additional officers.
I knew John would be substantive, that wasn't.
So on the Vehicle Equipment Replacement Fund, the VERF Fund, I think what I would like is to request kindly that you prepare a memo that explains why it is not financially solvent the way that it is set up. Certainly starving it of funds will make it financially insolvent, and I just want to be sure we're not causing it to be financially solvent independently of its own infrastructure or how it's set up. And so just a request, and you know, you don't have those materials here in front of you. There's a little bit of math involved, but I'd like to see the details. So something in writing that would give us that, please.
Got it.
The other thing I'd like to note, and this is more public facing, this body recognizes that you provide taxes to taxing entities like the city, the school district, the county, and the state, perhaps unwillingly. And there are politicians out there that will tell you that every year they were in office, they lowered your tax rate. But the thing is the amount that you pay in taxes is the valuation of your house times the tax rate. There's 2 values involved. And so if the value of your house goes up by 10%, and they lower the tax rate by only 5%, then they have increased the amount of money that you've had to pay in taxes because they didn't lower your tax rate by the amount that the value went up. Okay? And so what I have worked hard to do in here on council and encourage my fellow council members is for us to maintain our tax rate at the no new revenue rate. So what that means is that everybody that paid taxes last year to the City of Bastrop, they will be paying the same amount in total, in sum, to the City of Bastrop this year. Now, it is certainly true that at an individual level, one house might go up and one house might go down because of valuations, but on the whole, the total amount of money that we are receiving in taxation is the same from last year to this year on the same list of properties. And that is the true and accurate and detailed definition of not raising your taxes. And so I just wanted to point that out because it's important. There are two things that go into a tax calculation, the rate and the value. And so by adopting a no new revenue rate, that keeps the amount that our citizens pay equivalent to what was paid last year. And just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Lowe?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. We're talking about monetizing wastewater to keep things low, right? What are the specifics of the plan and what is the expected revenue from like affluent and stuff like that?
So at this point, we're in the planning stages. We're going to talk to you in executive session about finalizing wastewater treatment plant number 3, utilizing those savings, no extra money, no nothing, no drawdown of fund balance, using those extra savings to plan for wastewater treatment plant number 4. So we're already in the first, there will be 3 tranches drawn, essentially. We have currently a 4 million gallon discharge permit. We have 2 million at treatment plant number 3, so we have ability and room for 2 more without modifying the permit. We will have to modify the permit in the future, in the very, very, very near future. So monetizing the plant, a couple of things. Right now, the existing plant, the brand new plant we just cut ribbon on, is expensive to operate from a chemical perspective, from an electricity perspective, and from a byproduct perspective that we're having to haul and or treat. So the new technology is membrane technology, and it's from a company called Reuse that does just that, reuse. So the water, the byproduct of the water that's called effluent, can be what we call purple piped. One of the first subdivisions we are hoping to do that with is to Ironwood subdivision that is directly south to the plant on 304. That will allow them to use that water for irrigation, and we will get paid for water that we would have normally discharged. That's the first thing. So that's the first revenue stream. Second revenue stream is the byproduct of what is now sludge will be, for lack of a better term, powdered. And it will be able to be sold off and mixed in what everybody conveniently knows as Dillo, dirt, et cetera. So the landscapers really want those byproducts. So that's revenue stream number 2. Revenue stream number 3 is our ability to take Porta Potty and other companies to take their sludge and disposal that we don't take today. The closest transfer plant is in Austin, and that's expensive to companies. So we can charge a fair rate, monetize that amount, take that byproduct, and then turn around and sell it to the landscaping firms. So I've taken a product, I've charged for that product, and I'm going to charge again to sell it. And then additionally, the plants will have efficient energy, and by that we're looking at solar, and we're looking at wind to power, to drive down that power cost, and potentially at some point put that back into the grid. My goal is for the Colorado to not know Bastrop is here. We are that good. I want to win an award for this one. This one makes the news, not the other stuff. This one makes the news.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Lowe. Do we have anything else? Councilmember Fossler.
I'd like to point out that we got an award this year. And by I say we, I mean y'all. Thank you. I think we skipped a year, so it's great to have it back. Thank you very much.
Yes, the budget award. She's talking about the budget award.
Can you explain what that is for those who don't know, since you want to bring it up?
So you're required to have certain pieces in your budget. You're required to file your budget. You're required to have certain information out to the public. And so we did those in a timely manner. Judy submitted for the award, and we received the award, and so it is on the first page.
So it's a budget transparency award.
It is a budget award, yes. Yes. And I will say that what you're seeing up on the screen today is the proposed budget. As we make changes to the budget and it becomes solidified, then some of those detail reports will become in even greater detail. And the residents will be able to jump into any one of those funds and drill down a report. And by that, I will show you that I can create a report that talks about, let's see, revenues to expenses. If I want to see everything that's in the general fund only, then I will go to the general funds. If I want to pick only what's in the police department or only in finance, let's pick on municipal court. If I want to see everything that's in municipal court doesn't have any associated revenues, and this was a conversation with the Parks Board also. Departments that are in the general fund, when they create revenue, it goes in the big general fund pot. It doesn't go to specific items. Parks Board has some things that go into the designated fund, but by and large, not all. And so you'll see that the expenses for municipal court are $550,000. You can drill down into the expenses, know how much personnel cost from wages and benefits, any services, maintenance, and repairs. And as we take off into the year and this is launched, you'll be able to drill down by month and see what that particular expense was. Can't get any more open than that.
Councilmember Meyer?
Thank you. Not really a question at all. Just want to say thank you so much, Sylvia, but also all the staff, because I know I know the blood, sweat, and tears y'all put in, because I drove by here night and day and middle of the night, and so just a huge thank you to all of y'all.
And I want to give the council the understanding that the general fund is healthy because we made some significant changes to the way the general fund works, engineering being one of them. Development services, letting it be its own master of its own universe so it can ramp up with work and ramp down as it needs to. Those funds, when they're operating healthy and are solvent, can contribute to the general fund. When the general fund is taxed and taxed and taxed and taxed, those funds will also end up being taxed. And so the goal is we move further to where I don't need any more from BP&L. I don't need an additional transfer from BP&L. That's been the goal for a couple of years, not quite there yet, but I think maybe by next year I'm going to get there.
All right. Do we have any other discussion on this? All right. Thank you, City Manager. All right. Oh, Carrie, Councilmember Fossler, you had something else.
Let's tell the public about the upcoming workshops before our final adoption. So the next budget workshop is next Tuesday, is that correct? The 19th at 6:30 p.m. I think it'll be at the Convention Center. And then we'll have, are there any? And then we'll have an actual public hearing, right?
Correct.
Okay.
September, we'll have two public hearings.
In September, 2 public hearings and then final adoption.
The tax rate.
Okay, so if you have comments, then you're welcome to go to the City of Bastrop homepage and click through all the stories. It has all the departments, all the divisions' requests as well. It's really interesting, that particular format. So yeah, next Tuesday is your next opportunity to give input, because this is still a working document. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Fossler. Councilmember Meyer.
Yes, just one thing on note on that, Sylvia, since we're bringing up the meeting next Tuesday, which is the 19th, 6:30 at the Convention Center. Can you tell us, besides the budget workshop, what else is on that agenda?
That is the North End Prairie special meeting. The applicant has requested an appeal to the City Council after my initial denial.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Meyer. Thank you, Madam City Manager. Okay. Now we're on to the charm workshop presentation, please.
This is a follow-up to the tabletop exercises we did as it related to flooding here in this very office.
Good evening. So yes, I'm here to give you and the public the findings from the Project Identification Exercise Workshop, which is also known as PI, that was hosted back on June 25th at City Hall, and the actions that staff is taking as a result of the workshop. So the 2025 PI report is located on the city's floodplain management webpage. You can access this site through the engineering or development services page. As you can see on screen, we have engineering's and then the development services tab, and so it's the floodplain management is where you would click. And then we also had a banner on the city's homepage showcasing the report last week. And then on this page, you can click on the image or the hyperlink to view the report, and then we included a brief summary of the event next to it. And then on the floodplain management page, if you scroll down, we have some quick links located on there, and then we also added the FEMA's BFE viewer to this list of quick links for the public for their easy access, and they can find it. And then during the workshop, 3 projects were identified based on the discussion during the workshop. I will briefly touch on some of the items that staff will be implementing and or have implemented since receiving the report. But for more in-depth tools and technical guidance, please refer to the report. It's very well written and it's a good read. I do recommend everyone to take a look at it. So starting off, we're going to do the Comprehensive Floodplain Administration Education for Local Leaders. Individual expertise across the board is not necessary, but a shared foundation can help the city navigate future challenges with confidence. Staff shared the FEMA floodplain management training for local elected officials with the previous council members, and then we will send this out again to the current members and the P&Z Commission. Moving on, number 2, the Public Comprehensive Education and Outreach Campaign. Staff discusses floodplain and drainage requirements during the pre-application meetings that we have. And the biggest thing is we wanted to bring awareness to the updated floodplain management website because it has a list of FAQs and then plus all the quick links for them to find helpful material. And then staff was successful in having Bastrop County Appraisal District add the BFE layer to their interactive map. And it will just help bring more awareness to this tool. And then number 3, established framework for resilient development with green infrastructure opportunities. The city has already made steps towards implementing resilient measures, such as reducing impervious coverage requirements, no adverse impacts, and best available data. Staff is recommending 50% pervious credit for permeable or porous pavement and required biannual inspection reports for stormwater facilities. And then this will be brought for official action at the next council meeting. Are there any questions?
Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
Did we pay anything for this?
No, this was no cost to the city, and it was funded through FEMA.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you all.
All right. We are on to citizen comments. Do we have any additional? All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Up first, we have Dax. Dax, how do you say your last name? I'm trying to read it here. Haverlack. Haverlack. I couldn't tell what the R was. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Pretty good.
All right.
Hi.
I'm sure you know the routine.
Yeah, Dax Haverlack, 779 Peach Creek Road, Rosanke, Texas. I know last time I spoke, it was pretty much a good acknowledgement that I have a full council and a full secretary and a full staff, and the city was staffed. And then a couple weeks later, I don't know, there's people drop out, the city staff and all that. So we got, I don't know, just my routine and regular re-announcement that if we have the right people in the right roles for the right responsibilities, then the city runs and operates. So similar to what I'm saying at Smithville and saying what I'm saying to Elgin, if the city is staffed, then we've got the right people to work on the right things, the right people where they need to go, and then the right committees, the right acknowledgements, just to make stuff happen in the way that it needs to happen. So I'm excited for that. Otherwise, I don't know who arranged it, but we had that lemonade crawl, and there was alcohol served at all the little shops. Either that was a wondrous feat of everyone knew what to do, or that was just another momentous effort of a TABC and like 95 different allowances. Haven't seen that so far in the last couple of years, so that was, whoever managed to get that done, that was a huge feat to happen. And the town showed up for it. It was pretty packed on an off weekend. Yeah, otherwise, we are done with summer part 1. We have August, September, and October to go for the next half of summer. But a couple events, great budget workshops, activities, making stuff happen. And then eventually it'll be November. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 months, but we got stuff happening in the next 3 months. Yeah, otherwise, a minute left. I was pretty happy with what Sylvia was saying with the de minimis rate. I didn't know we were less than 15,000 as a city. I thought we were cresting over that edge, but I guess we're at 12,000, just barely, which means Lockhart has us beat by 3,000. And so we're only about 2 years behind them if we're growing in the same rates. So hopefully when we're looking and preparing for the next activities and infrastructures, Lockhart might have something that catches our eye, and then we build towards it. But otherwise, yeah, we got a lot of stuff happening in the next 2 years for budgets and growth and activities. And then a lot of stuff happening in the next 3 months for budget. So we'll make it happen. I'm excited to keep hearing and listening and seeing what you, Elgin, and Smithville make happen. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dax. All right. Up next, we have Rita Ward. I didn't want to get in trouble for saying miss.
Grandma is back.
Hello, miss. Hello, Rita.
No, I just got back from a trip to Lubbock. And I don't know how y'all feel about cell towers, but I'll tell you what, we need cell towers. And I've even been having trouble with my phone since I got back here. I had trouble all day long yesterday. Now, if I had land, I'd say, okay, you can put your cell tower right here on this land. But I don't have any land here in Bastrop. But we need some cell towers, period. And if you want to get out of the cell towers, just make a trip to Lubbock. It's dead, dead, dead.
Thank you, Rita. All right. Now we have Cecilia Cerna. She wishes to speak on agenda item 4D.
Cecilia Cerna, 1104 Hill Street. First, I want to apologize from what I said on a previous meeting about saying that golf is an elite sport. I know it's become more popular, but historically it has been more for the upper echelon. But I apologize for stating that. I mean, we've moved forward. Secondly, I'm still wondering why the golf seemed, in my opinion, to have come up quickly. From what I could find, March 6th was the first time it was ever mentioned in a parks meeting. And within that meeting, it was stated that the BEDC in February did not want to move forward with the sport complex. But then I hear tonight that there's a fund balance. So it seems to me that we should continue to move forward with the parks plan as it was laid out, and at least try to do a feasibility study to have baseball, softball, or soccer fields, and not leapfrog par 3 golf course on top in front of them. I mean, the top 3, and this is all in our master plan, the top three amenities that were requested by the citizens. First was hike and bike connectivity, additional restrooms, adventure-type natural playscapes. The top 10 facilities by importance, the number 1 was a pool, a hike and bike trail, 3rd, indoor rec center, most of these habitat, nature areas, trails, playgrounds. I'm just asking that we table the golf, look at what was requested by the survey that was done, and that we even paid $290,000 for a consultant. Within the master plan, we can make money with the softball, baseball, soccer fields, anywhere between 5 to 10 million for baseball, softball, and 5.6 to 11 million as listed in the study for soccer fields. And additional funds would come from just within locals just attending the services. The millions of dollars in revenue I listed are based on tournaments. Anyway, it took me a while to try to find this. The transparency wasn't really quite there, at least for me trying to find this, and it's taken me the last 2 weeks trying to piece together where this came from. So what I'm asking is, let's try to put things back the way they were and not realign the plan and change what we're doing, and rather than stick with what we have and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. All right, that's it for citizen comments? All right, thank you. So we're up to executive session, but I'm going to move that to the end, and we're also going to take item 11C and add that to our executive session conversation. And so we will move forward to items for individual wrong one. Consent agenda items. Do we have any that we need to be pulled, council members? Okay. So Councilmember Fossler.
10C.
Okay, anything else? Okay. All right. So agenda items, all matters listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and acted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from consent agenda and will be considered separately. So we are going to move with approving. Oh, okay. Consider an act on this 10A. Consider an act on the second reading of ordinance number 2025-61 to approve map depicting the municipal boundary, city limits, and extraterritorial jurisdiction (ETJ) as required by law. 10B. Consider an act as second reading of ordinance number 2025-58 to amend the City of Bastrop Code Ordinances, Chapter 13, Utilities, Article 13.4, Wireless Transmission Facilities, Section 13.14.021 to allow wireless transmission facilities in the employment center place type. 10D, consider an act. Oh, okay, my bad. So,
Move to approve.
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimous. Now 10C. So consider an act on the first reading of ordinance number 2025, amending the budget for fiscal year 2025 in accordance with the existing statutory requirements.
Thanks. Yeah, it just, as you know, we pass our budget in a very public setting, and I would like all of our budget amendments to be at least spoken out loud at the mic. So I'll always pull it off consent agenda just so we can explain to the public what we're amending each time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Laura.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The budget amendment that I bring to you today involves development services in the wastewater water impact fee fund. Bastrop Independent School District has paid a total of $134,856 in transportation and impact fees. On July 28th, the council passed a resolution authorizing a credit to BISD in the amount of $83,598 towards their permit fee. The amendment that I bring to you today basically is authorizing us to allocate that credit from the said fees in the Development Services Fund to their outstanding impact fees in the wastewater and water impact fund. Basically, we would turn around, issue them a check for them to turn around and issue a check back to us to cover our fees. This does require council approval for two reasons. It involves transferring money between funds and the dollar amount. So those both require council approval.
So we're not transferring transportation impact fees, we're transferring fees received in the development fund into the water wastewater fund.
Awesome, thank you. Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimous. All right, for items 10D through 10F. Consider an act on a resolution number R-2025-121 of the City Council, City of Bastrop, Texas, authorizing the installation of stop signs at various intersections by streets and drainage department. 10E, consider an act a resolution on number R-2025-144, authorizing local fund contribution in the amount of $686,900 in support of the City of Bastrop's application of the Texas General Land Office for the Community Development Block Grant Mitigation Program for the Colorado Riverbank Stabilization Project. And 10F, consider an act to approve the Bastrop City Council minutes from the July 22nd regular meeting and the July 28, 2025 special budget workshop.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You have who that is? Yes. All opposed? All right. Thank you. All right, on to agenda item 11A. These are items for individual consideration. Consider an act on the first reading of ordinance number 2025-65, authorizing the city manager to sell the city-owned property located at 1808 Jasper Street, Bastrop, Texas, for the amount of $210,000 and move to include on the August 26, 2025 consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. This was a topic of discussion. 1808 Jasper Street to be sold to ESD number 3, the newly created ambulance ESD, in an amount of $210,000. After discussion, the contract was amended and sent back. It is not an assignable contract. Thank you, Councilmember Foster. And the buyer has agreed that they must commence construction within 36 months. They've put that in the contract documents.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Agenda item 11B, consider an act on the first reading of ordinance number 2025-45, amending the Train Technologies Development Agreement under the Omnia Partners Cooperative Purchase Agreement for the design and construction of a new high-efficiency wastewater treatment facility and move to include on the August 26, 2025 consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. This was an item that the council approved previously for wastewater treatment plant number 4, an expansion of plant 3. What the agreement originally said was we were going to construct a 4 million gallon in addition to the 2. Our permit is not to 6 yet, so we don't want to be in breach. So this is a minor amendment that would allow us to move forward, amend to 2. It is a plug-and-play expandable type plant, so as soon as we get the permit up to the required amount, we'll bring it back. What I didn't want is somebody to review the contract and said, hey, you have up to 4 and you're only building 2. So the documents match what council approved.
All right, thank you.
Move to approve.
No.
The lanyard was over the light. Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland has something to say.
Okay, so I went through about a dozen questions, which I'm not going to ask here, and finally sort of landed on a philosophy that I don't want to pay for two 2 million gallon plant designs. I don't pretend to be an expert in getting TCEQ permits, but it seems that they are pretty good at getting them out in 300 days. This contract is not to design an expandable 2 million to 4 million gallon per day plant. It's not written that way. It could be written that way, but it's written right now exclusively to build a 2 million gallon per day plant, to design, not to build, to design, well, I think whatever the amount is, like $1.1 million. What this leads me to think is that if we were to expand, we would then be on the hook for another 1.1 million to design the second 2 million gallon plant per day to add up to 4. However, if one of two paths, leave it at 4 million gallons per day and go get the permit, we can beat this plant being built. I wonder about, and Stan, just FYI, this is a question that could come to you. Could we build a 4, but only use it at 2 until the permit is available, like legally? Is that allowed? And what I'm trying to do is look for a way to efficiently use the money to get the design for a 4 million gallon per day plant to honestly start to build a 4 million gallon per day plant, and we can beat its construction in terms of getting the permit. I read through permit applications today from Pflugerville and a few other cities where they were doing, the phased approach, and it just sort of, it made it relatively automatic as long as you were following the rules and had good applications to get those expansion permits. The reason why I care, this is the kind of the background, is you had told us previously that next calendar year, if all development came online, we would be at 150% of our current plant. Well, that means that we would, when this new plant is built, at least 50% of it would be fully utilized on the day that it opened. And so we would be in this little wheel of build a 2 million gallon plant per day, get the permit, build another 2 million gallon plant per day. And I'm just suggesting that, is there a more cost-efficient way to plan and execute a 4 million gallon plant now, and either the legality of only using it at 2 until we get the permit, or, here's the big valve that we don't turn on until we get the permit, or design the 4 and they only install half of it, and then we install the second half when we get the permit. Just some path to where this 1.1 million designs a 4 million gallon plant instead of a single 2 million gallon plant that we then have to pay for again later.
Sure, all very valid questions. I don't have an answer for you tonight, other than knowing that things can't sit dry. You can ask your expert right there. All the gaskets, everything dries up. You can't leave anything dry.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Many options to get there.
So the ability to build something and let it stand, no, but perhaps yes to design, because they are plug and play. I will ask that question. What I did not want is that we have something going on that's contrary to what a contract has, because, Lord knows I get enough of that.
No, that's fair. But if we need to kick off a TCEQ permit expansion, if that 300-day number is valid, then we can beat this plant to, grand opening pretty easily.
I will ask that question and ask that you table this item to the next meeting.
Okay. Well then, anyone else? Motion to table?
Until
the next
8/26.
8/26 meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to
I'll second.
table, and then a motion, a second. So, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. On to agenda item 11D, consider an act on a resolution number R2025-142, approving an engineering professional services contract with the Goodman Corporation for task order number 5, Blakey Lane Roundabout redesign in an amount not to exceed $88,000.
Mayor, council, good evening. All right, we're going to talk about Blakey Lane extension. We're talking, I don't know if I can get this thing to do it today. We're talking in this corner in front of Texas Boot Company and the car wash. The plans for Blakey, this is Blakey extension, this orange line here. The plans called for a roundabout here in this bottom corner. We engaged the Goodman Corp already to provide a traffic analysis. That was done in May of 25. The assessment, the analysis was for the proposed design. We wanted to make sure, and council, Mayor Pro Tem asked several questions. So in order to answer those, we wanted to make sure we went through it correctly. And so we got traffic counts, we did the existing conditions, we did future conditions, and then we compared those intersection types and to get a grade for what the future would be, what it is now. We got all that information, and based off that information, they put together a redesign request to look at with the land there to see what we can to come up with. It's going to be relocating the roundabout to closer towards away from 71. They're also going to look at, is there a temporary solution at the beginning to do like a T intersection there for a short period and then go to a roundabout. They're going to give us all kinds of different ideas based off of that traffic analysis they did. And so we're requesting to bring that forward to you guys, and the contractors not to exceed $88,000 for the engineering design services. And so the plan is, as we work through that with them, we'll bring those options to you guys, and we'll have discussions. We also need to go meet with Texas Boot Company and the car wash because it's going to affect their driveways, and we want to have conversations with them about maybe we can consolidate driveways because there's a ton of different driveways there, have different ideas as we go through that design phase. Any questions?
I don't know who was first. Councilmember Meyer.
Not working.
I don't have, I hit the clear.
Okay, I'll move over that way.
All right.
Oh, his isn't working either. Colin? Oh, his came on now. There
Okay,
you go.
I'm good. We're all good now. Okay, Chief, could you explain just why this is needed? Kind of let the public know
Yes.
what the point of this is?
Yes, so there was an initial design done through, on the previous, when they did the engineering of Blakey, there was an initial design done. That design did not contemplate all of the analysis. It just was a design thrown out there. And so when we were questioning about it, we couldn't answer those questions as to what the traffic counts were, what was all that. They should have done what we're doing now. Then they didn't, so we're coming back, we're correcting that. And so based off the analysis that we got in the traffic counts and all of the data that we put together, we do feel that there is a redesign necessary, and so that's what we're doing here. There are funds left over in the Blakey Lane the engineering contract. That's what we're going to use. We had some surplus left over. We're also going to go back to the original design engineer, and we're going to look at them and see what we can do to regain some funding back.
And only because we understand and we know what the goal is with this roundabout,
Yes.
but the public may not understand, which I think they would greatly appreciate if and when this is done. Can you tell us what the effect of this roundabout will be for our citizens?
Yeah, the goal is to, once we connect, so this is Ed Burleson, 71 access Ed Burleson. This is Lowe's right here. This is where all the construction is going on right now. This is Settlement, and so Blakey Lane is going to tie in here, connect to Settlement, and then come all the way down, turn, go all the way to 71. It's not going to tie into 71. It's going to cut the corner there and tie into Old Austin Highway. And so we this is a three-way intersection with that. And so we want to keep the access to 71 and Old Austin Highway into Blakey, so you'll have those three options. We don't want to trigger a traffic light here because then that will cause queuing. We don't want to put a stop sign there because it'll also cause queuing, and so that queuing cannot come out into 71. That queuing can't go down, especially during school traffic. And so it seems through the analysis that the roundabout designed correctly, designed wide enough, designed appropriately can handle that traffic flow, especially during school time, to allow people to come out onto 71 and take Blakey, come out onto Old Austin Highway to Blakey, Old Austin Highway to 71, and not create any queuing.
Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
So I'll tell you that I was in a philosophical mood as I read the packet. And on this item, I'm not opposed to a roundabout, no problem. But I don't know that the roundabout is our goal. And the contract calls for a roundabout. And our goal is to have a functional intersection.
Yes.
And it very well could be a roundabout.
Yes.
But by asking the engineer to design a roundabout, are we limiting our choices?
No. So we've called it a roundabout, but he is going to look at all, and he has provided the analysis, all the different variations of intersections, which was a T intersection, a Y intersection. There was a roundabout. There was a Y with right turns, like queued right turns that would allow when you came off 71 and were making a right onto Old Austin Highway, you would go around the, you wouldn't stop at the intersection, you would go through. He gave all kinds of different variations. He's still going to go through those variations. He's really got to look at that spacing that we got from TxDOT and see what fits into there. And then when he does the design, he'll give us what grades. The problem with when we looked at a T intersection, it immediately, let's start with number one. Number one, the current design has, it's already an F intersection. And so A, B, C, D, F, like school grade, that grade is really bad. If we would have built it today, we'd already been at a complaint-driven intersection. So we don't want to go there. So what we want to do is, as they go through those analysis, they work through them, we see what grades we get. When we did a Y intersection, a T intersection there, where Blakey would tee into Old Austin Highway, it created like I think a C-D intersection. And so it was a little bit better, but still not good enough. So when he widened out the roundabout, we really got to like an A-B intersection. And so it's widening it out and adding some, dual lanes where you come in and you can stay right, or you get into another lane and take the roundabout.
Yeah, a two-lane roundabout.
A two-lane roundabout.
Yep. That
one seemed to be the better. It was an A-B instead of an F because the initial design was a single lane.
You can just stay in the middle and go in circles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we plan, as he provides us data and he brings it to us, we'll bring it to you guys in kind of a workshop setting and let you guys pick through it as we work through it.
I couldn't have imagined a better answer. Thank you.
Yes.
Councilmember Fossler.
If it ends up being a roundabout, would it be our city's first roundabout?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have another one.
Moving on.
Councilmember Plunkett.
Super quick, since we've been informing the public about what's going on, there's a reason that we can't come all the way out to 71 on Blakey, and that's because DOT will not let us, TxDOT will not let us, because that would put too many intersections too close together.
Correct.
Having those two driveways coming out is probably no good.
Those two driveways are going to they're actually going to go away from the access to 71. They're going to be tied into to the Blakey extension.
Right, but currently they're grandfathered, and that's why
currently they are.
It's okay now, but it's not okay to make it worse.
Correct. Yeah, we cannot. Yeah, we would either have to get rid of the Old Austin Highway intersection and push down, or vice versa. But there's not enough room to push down, so we have to stay with the intersection where it's at and work around it, which is why we're going through the exercise.
Thank you for that.
Anything else?
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't sound like it. All right. Council members?
Motion to approve.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimous. All right, 11E, consider an act on directing staff to begin the process of amending the Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan for Mayfest Park to include the installation of a covering over the rodeo arena.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Well, as you know, I'm here tonight to seek permission and/or direction from you to pursue this process. Essentially, the City of Bastrop did adopt an Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan in 2023. That plan includes capital plans for each one of the parks. Essentially, the capital plans are lists that basically allocate different projects that the community had input on that they would like to see occur. Usually with the capital list, there's a general OPC as well that kind of contemplates general costs of what it would be to add these improvements to those parks. Mayfest Park. This is one of the parks that was included in the Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan. This one is a little unique for a couple of reasons. Generally, we've heard from the public and from different sources that a covering over Mayfest Park, over the rodeo arena, is highly desired. So we would love to pursue the process of incorporating that into the Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan. The other thing that we did identify when we were reviewing the Mayfest Park CIP plan is that there is it does lack clarity as far as direction goes for just an overall comprehensive plan. There's an exhibit, and the exhibit lists some existing improvements and then some additional improvements, but it's not clear as to if they're proposed and then the scale and/or size. There was also no OPC included with this, so I do believe that this one kind of needs an intensive revisit. If you all were to decide that we are to pursue this process, generally the schedule that CM Carrillo mentioned earlier looks like this. We would do public engagement. We would host a town hall meeting. That would occur on September 3rd. We would also host a digital survey. That would be online from September 3rd to 17th. Thereafter, we would seek council direction. What we would do is come and present a summary of the public input and findings to you guys on September 23rd. After that, we would need to incorporate the amendments based off of the direction you give us at that meeting of, yes, do this, move forward on that. And so we would generally seek a consultant that would help us incorporate those changes into the Parks Master Plan. We would probably look at the company that did the original Parks Master Plan, the Experience Bastrop, Stantec, because they already have all of the digital files and all of the data. And this should just be an amendment, so usually it's easier to kind of go with the consulting firm that did the original leg of work. And then after that, we would seek, per our charter, it does say that anything that's a master plan is treated like a comprehensive plan. And so in order to have it formally approved, we need a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then after that, it's approved by ordinance with the first and second reading from council. So P&Z on October 23rd, and then October 28th for first reading, November 11th for second reading. Our recommendation to staff is that you do direct us to begin moving forward with amending the Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan for Mayfest Park to include a covering over the rodeo arena. Questions?
Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
So Mayor, I think I'll ask you a question first. I feel like that we need to provide some, this is a direction to staff. That's largely what this is, right? And I have kind of some, again, I said I was philosophical. I'd like to have a discussion, but I think it's more amongst us than it is questions for them. Our rules of procedure say that would be done after a motion, but I wanted to ask how you wanted to handle something like that. And the reason why is because I'd actually like to solicit a little bit of discussion from us, like conversation amongst our body, which would typically be like debate in effect, but it's not adversarial.
Right. I'm just sure we can do that. I'm fine with that. Councilmember Meyer.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So on the step, and I'm off. These are the right steps. This is what we have to do. Because we are all about transparency, and this is about, that's the direction we're going. I do want us to remember that on the last Parks Master Plan, before we adopted it, the part on where we're doing a survey online or something up there, that survey didn't yield true results of how our citizens felt because we had a room packed with people from rodeo. So I want to make sure that we consider all people, not just a survey. And I'm very, very thankful that we stopped that process, which had soccer fields up there where the rodeo arena is. And the people yelled at us. Thank goodness they did. Keep yelling at us because it's important that we give you what it is you want. So I just want us to be really considerate of that in this whole process.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing from you is yes, survey, but look at who shows up at the town hall and the feedback from the people in the room. Understood.
We can also request an address in the survey.
That's a great
Right.
idea.
Address.
Councilmember Lowe?
Yeah, I mean, it's early in the process, but is there any estimated cost that we be associated with this at this time?
So it depends on the scale of how big the amendment goes, but generally I did reach out to Stantec in advance just to talk about, hey, if we were to want to amend the Parks Master Plan specifically for Mayfest Park, what does that look like? And because we're taking care of the public input portion and everything like that, and if it's relegated to the Mayfest Park, he gave me a quote of about $5,000 just to redo the rendering. And that's because we're doing a lot of the heavy lifting for public engagement, hosting the town hall. Generally, whenever it gets more expensive with consultant firms is when you have them driving out to do the public engagement, gather the data, and things like that. We would be kind of putting that burden of responsibility on ourselves as staff. That being said, if we decide that we want to do a larger amendment to the Parks Master Plan for other areas of interest, then that can drive costs, and that answer would change.
Thank you.
Yes.
Councilmember Fossler?
Thanks. At what stage does a park improvement trigger an amendment? Is it a dollar amount or a big scope amount? Is there a threshold?
So generally, you would look to the CIP plan to see if you could, CIP, especially with the Parks Master Plan, because it's a little bit different, it lays out intent. So as long as the improvement matches the intent, you can kind of say that it meets the intent of the capital plan. The trouble with the Mayfest Parks Master Plan is that there's really no intent to draw from. I mean, outside of looking at the rendering and it says like covering and it has a couple of structures, it's hard to understand what the intent was. And even when I spoke to Stantec about this, because like I said, they were the original consultant that worked on this, they were like, they even admitted that it could have been a much stronger plan with more definite recommendations. If you look at, it's hard to see, but maybe on your computer screens, you can see it a little better. Like the Fisherman's Park has a schedule of, or a list of activities at the bottom. It has an OPC here at the top. Has a written list of different activities, and then it even has kind of like projected locations of what those improvements would look like.
Gotcha.
It wasn't contemplated because it was an afterthought?
It was an afterthought, yeah.
Because of the giant community input that was received. And I'll tell you that that's not even a correct rendering because we don't own that road that's shown there. It's a correct rendering. So
Right, but
I'd ask Stantec for a refund of that rendering period.
So for our other park improvements that are planned, they don't trigger this because they're smaller. They're with the intent of all the things. Okay, so, okay, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, I'll make a motion, and I'm going to try to anticipate what I got from John's comments about what might be helpful. That we direct staff to begin the process of amending the Experience Bastrop Parks Master Plan for Mayfest Park to include things such as potentially a covering over the rodeo arena or other improvements. That would leave it a little bit more open for other input from the community.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second All in favor?
Nope.
What?
Discussion.
Oh, yeah, discuss, thank you, thank you. I got a little excited. All right, so we will have some discussion on this. What do you have, Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, so I would like to ask us here on council. So first of all, I'll tell you that I'm in favor of this. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I would like to, especially in the engagement with the public, I would like to articulate a vision that goes beyond a simple statement like put a covering on it. And so I would like us to discuss the why behind it, right? And whys can be things like we want to have more events there, we want greater seating capacity, we want greater invulnerability to weather variability. That's terrible. We want to be able to have events when it rains. But you have to consider things like seating. I mean, we had a rodeo standing room only with 4 people deep in the, where they were standing around. We need to consider if we have sufficient parking or a plan for where cars can park. There's a large grass field out there. You walk out there. I lost my truck this year, and it took me a while to find it. So there's a lot of parking, but it's not organized. So that means that vehicles are taking up tremendously more space than they would be in something that was organized. But if you created an organized, pervious, paving parking lot out there, it had a tremendous amount of cost. And so I guess I would like for us to discuss what the meta goal is for putting the covering on there, and then encourage that as the public discussion. And that can include a covering, can include parking, can include seating enhancements. And then the other thing I'd like us to discuss is that there was a question from Councilperson Lowe about the cost of the amendment, not the cost of the covering, but the cost for them to change the document, right? If they came back and said it was $100 billion, that would be way too much, and we would say no. If they said it was $1, we'd say, oh, sure, can you get it to us next week, right? But there is some dollar level in between those two that we lose comfort at and would just have staff edit a PDF file, right? And so I would like for us to maybe give some direction on a not to exceed price for this modification.
Well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I would like to say that I would select potentially a firm other than Stantec, number one.
Okay.
Number two, I would ask that the council give us an amount maybe not to exceed $50,000 to be able to get some preliminary information that's needed. There is preliminary engineering that's going to be needed that talks about a cover of that size is going to yield acre feet of water. Mm-hmm. And so we need to address the drainage. We do need to address what, some of those, just some of the overall needs, everything that comes along with the cover. And at least a preliminary opinion of probable cost is around $50,000. And I would say that the amendment to the master plan really could be done by staff. Mm-hmm. Once we have that opinion of probable cost. I really want these documents to become living, breathing documents that we have the ability to modify without having to send out.
Right. I certainly haven't tried this with something that's as complex as these PDF files, but at work I uploaded some images of some images of text to to GPT-5, Microsoft's Copilot AI engine, and just had it converted into text that I could then copy and paste and use in a document. So it might be that the newest AI models could help us with 3 or 4 man-days of work to convert that into an editable document.
Or we get the editable document from Stanford.
That would be ideal,
Yes.
but just in case it were to not be available. So I hear what you're saying in terms of the money for an engineering study, and I actually wasn't talking about that. I was talking about, I was not wanting to give, tens of thousands of dollars to Stantec to, in effect, modify a PDF file.
I agree.
Okay.
I'd much rather us, because it could be that we go through the engineering process and figure that, oh my goodness, this is a scope of several years or several pots of money or several blank, 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 whatever that is. And so I would ideally like to have some information related to that. And we have multiple firms on IDIQ that could take it on immediately.
Councilmember Meyer.
Thank you. And I think to Mayor Pro Tem comments, I think that's a great point, Mayor Pro Tem, because we got to have thinking about, more bleachers, because we saw, wow, when you have it, they will come. Well, they came, and they came and they stood. So we've got to increase a lot of things, but there is so much potential up there with, as you said, Mayor Pro Tem, more events, hot fund money, right? If we get 10 events up there, we can get the hot fund plugged in. I see this place as an economic driver also, absolutely. So I think this is a very exciting thing that we can look at, make work, and really just do a great thing for our people here.
So then, in terms of the staff direction, you like the having more events, greater seating capacity as goals?
Yeah, and I'm sure staff and those involved are well aware of these goals. We just had to get. I'm just saying we just had to get it presented here to be talked about in public.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're specifying that, but that is, to my understanding, a lot of the direction and what they're looking for, and what we've talked about, and as far as getting that there, because there's so much that Bastrop has to offer, right? And it's so much that we can do with that.
Are there any optimizations that would make rodeos easier? I think like return shoots or just
they've already, like, the people involved in the rodeo themselves, they've already talked with facilities, talked with me as far as what needs to be done modifying that arena. But to me, the concept behind this is to go beyond the arena. See, because rodeo season only happens a certain time of the year, right? In the wintertime, they're usually taking a break. They don't kick back off to about spring, late February, spring. And then also, with the way rodeo is so prevalent around here, you do have other areas that have rodeos within an hour drive. So it is the thought to increase the amount of rodeo sports there, but there's so much more to offer outside of rodeo that we can provide, and especially in the colder months, having a facility that's covered, that has added seating, and we've already got some amenity upgrades. Like, it's just going to help Bastrop out. We can, have more, draw other events that may not come here.
In those colder months with the covered facility and added seating, with the rodeo sports not running at that time, are you suggesting that they would do something because we had the facility, or you're looking for something besides rodeo?
Well, you have roping events or you have your timed events. Those events will still kind of go on at times, like barrel racing, tie-down roping, team roping. And so, yeah, if they have a covered event, then they can. But a lot of times, too, in the wintertime, those guys are hard on the road for, like, I guess, semi-pro championships, if you will. That's the end of the rodeo season. So you do have the NFR, that's the professionals. And then you also have your local groups that have their championships around that time. But, again, not to be cliche, but if you build it, they will come, right? And having an added facility to be able to do that is definitely beneficial just in that area. But again, you have other events that can be put on, concerts.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, like namely concerts.
Right, you can do a lot of indoor concerts.
Yeah,
especially if we're able to, in a way, do something to where the sound doesn't impact the neighbors as much, right? Then there's a lot that we can do.
The other thing too, if I could add in, that was a great idea from one of the Parks Board members last week. She has an artist that carves with chainsaws, and they want to put on a wood carving competition with chainsaws. And, so we got to really think beyond this. There's so many things I think that the kids too could really take advantage under that. So I think we can't, we're just scratching the surface, but it's a very exciting option that I think would be really cool for our people to have.
And even outside of that, you have horse competition, horse shows, and all of them, most of them want to be indoors. And yeah, you have cutting, you have Western pleasure, right? You have a whole variety outside of just rodeo events that it can be used, that places like Taylor get those people all the time because they have that covered arena. So it's something that we could,
Okay. Sylvia, you had mentioned the number 50,000 for engineering. Do you believe that that is sufficient for design and opinion of probable cost?
It's not going to be a full-blown design, but it is enough to at least get some idea of what it would take and to near an opinion of probable cost.
Okay.
Because I think that's what you want. You want to at least scratch the surface so that we know what we're getting into.
Well, and it might be opinion of probable cost for a set of things that we can execute in the appropriate sequence.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or the number may be so high that we go, oh, well, that was a great idea, but, maybe not. Again, just not knowing, I think that's the better route, and the results of that yield amendments. And, these are supposed to be living, breathing documents. Every council that comes on board pretty much has their own ideas. And the folks that elected that council also have their own ideas. And so the plans are going to always morph. The plans are always going to change. There's never one plan that has ever stayed the same from start to finish. That's the reason many plans stay on shelves and don't get executed, because they don't become living, breathing documents. This plan was actually paid for via a grant, so I'm not sure folks fully understand that as well. But we are working various aspects of this plan. Lots of hike and bike trails being worked through in every park that we exact. I shared with the park board some initial discussions with the boring company to get us under 95 and get to the state park. We've already begun to have those discussions. We're already contemplating the grant. We already have cost estimates. We already have the timeline for how long it would take. We already know what that would be. So, for the folks who believe we're sitting on our thumbs not doing this, I would venture to say under my administration, under your council leadership, we've done more in parks in 3 years than the city had done in the 15 prior.
Mm-hmm.
And I am proud to say that.
Great.
Yes. I can concur.
So Mayor, I'd like for you to give any other council members the opportunity to say something, and then we can talk about amending the motion.
Yeah, that's what I was about to do, to see if anyone had anything else to talk about. Do we have any other discussion on the dais?
Okay, well then, Councilperson Plunkett, do you remember your motion?
Not at all. I've got a general idea.
Yeah, I have a general idea too. But rather than amending a general idea, maybe I'll just substitute an amendment and see if you agree with it. So I would like to submit a friendly amendment to the motion by replacing it in its entirety with a
Friendly amendment by replacing it in its
Right, that's so friendly.
Well, if he a hostile takeover.
If he agrees to it, it's friendly.
That's similar to call it in rain, John.
To a motion to approve a public process for making changes and amendments to Mayfest Park and the Rodeo Arena with the goal of increasing usage. That could include more events, greater seating capacity, parking, covering, drainage, and any additional improvements identified by the rodeo people. Rodeo people, that's right, I just made that up. And further, that we set a not-to-exceed price for the likely OPC that we've discussed here at $50,000. Is that acceptable?
See, Vivian, you thought mine was bad.
It's concise.
I'm fine with that.
So is that your second?
That's his,
No,
yeah.
that's his first.
Yeah, so.
Well, I mean, but he made the
motion,
friendly
I seconded
modification.
it.
but
I
then you
amended his by changing the whole
And you're
thing,
fine with the
and
amendment?
he's fine with
Okay,
it.
all right. Okay,
Well, I seconded it.
he seconded it. Yeah,
So we're good.
He kept it between y'all. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. It passes unanimous. All right, you're welcome. 11F, consider an act on a resolution number R-2025-143, approving an engineering professional services contract with BEFCO Engineering for task order number 2, Water Street and Linden Street pipe bursting design in an amount not to exceed $85,000.
This is what's going to let Water and Linden get done.
ACMFC?
Yeah. My apologies. Yes, so this is for a pipe bursting project for wastewater lines. It's going to be Water Street from Chestnut to Cedar Street, Linden Street from Pecan to Hill, and Farm Street from Main Street to Pecan Street. And so we're going to do some utility work. This contract is for BEFCO Engineering for their design and survey work. And then the construction will start immediately after the design. We'll go out for bid for the construction. And the goal is to align this with the street rehabilitation construction so that when we're done with pipe bursting, hopefully those other sections, and we can move right into paving on these 3 streets. Any questions?
Mayor Pro Tem Kirkland.
So this is not a philosophical question. For the benefit of the public or perhaps new council members that have not sat through these discussions, can you describe pipe bursting?
Yeah, pipe bursting, yes.
That's for your benefit.
Yeah.
Don't put it on the people.
I've already asked this question. I know the answer to this.
Yeah, maybe Curtis can probably explain it better than me, but basically where we already have pipe in the ground, whether it's a 10-inch pipe, 8-inch, and so the pipe bursting is they send a machine through the pipe that's currently existing, and they kind of move it out of the way and put a larger size pipe, whether it's or it could be just the same size. We're doing similar projects all around town. It's just to replace or repair or make larger the pipe that's in the ground existing. It's some kind of like pig device that goes through and just pushes the existing pipe out of the way and pulls the new one through.
And the question that I had to Sylvia fairly recently was, in that process, you're obviously destroying connections that
Yes.
pipe that tee off of that. And so how do you make those connections again? And she said they just dig a hole and reconnect.
Yep, they'll go to each of the service connections and reattach them after they go through. And so during that time of you won't have service, and so they'll do alternative plans during that short period. So we're fixing to do a similar project. You'll see one come to you guys for 71, where we're going to do it along 71 to upsize a pipe. So,
thank you.
Councilmember Meyer.
No, I just have a statement to Lucy and Edward Foz and Donna Kay and Oscar Castle, daughter Lisa, and everybody living on Water Street. It's time to start buying those champagne bottles, because we're going to pop some tops pretty soon down your way. I know you've been waiting a long time.
yes. So you're going to see the paving start on the south side, Gutierrez to Chestnut. We're going to start paving that area while we're doing the pipe bursting utility work. That way, once the utility work's done, then we'll jump over and then pave from Chestnut to Cedar, actually all the way up to past Cedar to Buttonwood. Yep.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, everyone, it is now 8:49, and we are going to move to executive session for agenda items 8A, 8B, and 11C. Oh, I got to read those. Thank you. I keep forgetting to move too fast. Sorry. Man, look, I want to get this stuff to. All right, item 8A, City Council shall convene into a closed executive session pursuant to Texas Local Government Code, Section 551.071, to seek advice of legal counsel to discuss and deliberate regarding Hunter Crossings Public Improvement District. 8B, City Council shall convene into a closed executive session pursuant to Sections 551.071 and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to consult with legal counsel and to deliberate on matters related to personnel within the Bastrop Fire Department. And then 11C, consider an act on a resolution number R-2025-122 approving change order number 4 with Bar Constructions, Inc. for a deduction of $25,314.46 from the contract price and an addition of 249 calendar days to the contract time as part of the wastewater treatment plant number 3 project. And this is going to be for consultation with the attorney. All right, it is 8:51 and we're going into executive session. All right, it is now 10:25 and we're back from executive session. Agenda item, or section 9, taking it necessary appropriate action on matters posted for consideration in closed executive session.
So I'd like to make a motion for item 8A. I motion to direct Sylvia and Hyde Kelly to dissolve the Hunters Crossing Local Government Corporation, shedding its assets and related liabilities to the city or POA as appropriate to minimize to the extent possible all operations and maintenance expenses until such time the PID can be dissolved, bringing back paperwork to execute these objectives.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes unanimous.
I have a motion to approve item 11C in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All right, thank you. Thank you, Bastrop. Have a great night. We love you. Peace.